Like, this is called the Pesky Report. Like,
welcome back to the Pesky Report, episode 582, presented by Beyond the Monster. I'm Jordan, joined by Isiah. Isiah, how are we doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I missed the first inning of the Red Sox game today, and so
you missed the game.
Bello looked pretty good from my end.
Yeah, I mean, he gave up 2 earned over his last 4 plus, so that's not horrible.
Yeah, I've seen worse.
Yeah, I saw worse today from Brayan Bello. Before we get into this episode, just as a reminder that this episode is also brought to you by TJ Stats, advanced MLB stats, including tools such as pitcher summaries, prospect rankings, and live pitch data. Head on over to tjstats.ca and use promo code PESKY, that is PESKY, for 25% off your first month over there. Again, tjstats.ca, not .com. Don't type in .com, you will not get the website. Learned that the hard way. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, do we want to go game by game here, or do we want to just talk about the elephant in the room, and that is that Brayan Bello is no longer part of the Boston Red Sox?
Let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it. Let's talk about this. Let's do this in reverse order. We're gonna talk game 3 first because it's more topical given the last hour or so. I'm just glad they did it right away because I would have hated for them to announce this tomorrow. So we're going to do this fully in reverse. Brayan Bello has been optioned to Triple-A Worcester following his outing today against the Baltimore Orioles. He pitched like crap. There's really no way to dance around that. He was not good today. They abandoned the opener for today, which, like, to a degree, fair enough. It's not like the opener was doing anything in the first.
Can we start with that? I saw a lot of people online that were like super bothered by the fact that we moved on from the opener, and I get the frustration a bit based on what we've seen from Bello the last handful of games and how much better he's been in the bullpen. But also, like, dude, we given this guy how many $1 million? He's been in the majors for 5 years or whatever. Was our opening day starter at one point. Like, I'm sorry, dog. You had your little month to have fun in the bullpen. I'm not that mad at the Red Sox just being like, dude, come on, just now's the time, buddy. We're getting absolutely creamed by our openers. Just go out there, give me something. Like, I'm not that mad at them for that. I'm like, this is on Bello.
Yeah, it's weird because we're like trying to dance around it to a degree. Like, a lot of the fan base being like, well, why are we abandoning the opener? It's like, well, it's not like the opener strategy really only worked that one game against Detroit, and that's because they scored 10 runs against Framber Valdez. Like, they treated Framber Valdez like opposing offenses treat Brayan Bello. They lit him up. That's the only start, I think the only game that they've actually won that he has pitched in the last, 5. So it's not like the strategy was working. It just yielded better results for Brayan Bello. His ERA as the bulk guy is 0.71. His ERA as a starter is much higher than that. I think it's 10. So pretty good.
Would you kind of make the argument like, hey, we gave him some time. We weren't winning with the opener, as you just said, but he definitely seemed like he was kind of righting the ship there for a bit. Okay, now training wheels are off. Let's get this thing going, and it did not get going today when it reversed.
Yeah, he's an established big leaguer. This guy's been in the major since 2022. Like, I understand that they did this with Nick Pivetta a couple years ago, but like Pivetta was still obviously he was an established big leaguer, but it wasn't like Pivetta really had success in Major League Baseball. And the Red Sox rotation as a whole wasn't very good in 2023 anyway.
Exactly.
I'd
feel so much differently if it was like, let's say Jake Bennett was in a situation where first year in the majors, he's having a tough time with the transition, and we see him just be really bad as the first inning of a game. But then we see him come out of the bullpen and pitch in bulk when he looks great. And then we make the transition like, hey, what are we doing? Like, why are we not trying to get this guy a bit more comfortable? No, dude, it's Brayan Bello. You're a big boy now.
Yeah, It's again like we don't have to baby this guy. He's been around for a while. Like he's young, sure. He's still 26 years old, so there's still room for him to get better. But like we don't need to find excuses for why he's not pitching well. He's just straight up not pitching well. It's not like again, he's one of the more established guys in this rotation. Like as far as like he's one of the longest tenured members of the team, as sad as that sounds. Like he's been around. He should know what it takes to win. He needs to know what it takes to, he needs to be able to execute. He needs to like I thought for the longest time with Bello this year, like the first maybe like 4 or 5 starts, that somehow he got in his own head since last season. Like that Yankees game in the playoffs really kind of like set him back. It was just a matter of figuring it out and like realizing how talented he is and how good his stuff is and just pitching to it. But he pitches like I don't think Bello sucks. I think he pitches like he thinks he sucks, and therefore he doesn't have any conviction in his pitches. He's all over the place with his command. He's leaving, changeups down the middle. He's just not executing. I mean, because we saw it last year. Like again, his peripherals were like over 4. But like you pitched to a 3.25 ERA or 3.45 ERA, whatever it was, for 160 innings. Like he had a pretty good year.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like it's the opposite of like watching Walker Buehler last year, right? Where like he sucked just as bad as Bayo, but it's like, dude, there's nothing we can do with 2025 Buehler that's going to change who he is as a pitcher based on where his velocity was at, how his pitches were looking. With Bayo, it's like we've changed so much with who he is as a pitcher since he came up. And then, I don't know how much of it's losing Cora and then, the shit that happened in Yankee Stadium in the playoffs last year. And then, him getting in his head and him having a rough start. And like, even like, that I think it's a double he gave up to Mayo in the first inning, just like 3 sweepers. Like, and then we're just throwing that cutter all the time. And then I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of variables, and I agree. I definitely don't think it's talent. I think it's mental and maybe a change of scenery, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Bello, the Red Sox, they're treating him. It's weird because I think he is limited in what he is capable of doing on the mound. Like, I don't think like the baby Pedro thing was. I know a lot because Pedro was like, he reminds me of me, and the fan base ran with it and started calling him that. And that's an unfair expectation to put on anybody, let alone a 20-year-old at the time or 21-year-old at the time that he's going to be Pedro freaking Martinez.
Yeah,
but this is a guy who is clearly super talented, but the Red Sox treat him like he's a project still. And like last year we saw like a recipe for success for him was just sinker, sweeper, changeup. And like some nights he doesn't have the changeup, and when he doesn't have the changeup, he's going to have a rough start, and that's fine. You can live with a rough start here or there, but the problem is then they're like, let's just spam cutters. And his cutter stinks. And it was okay last year, but historically not a good pitch. This year, awful pitch. Why are we still trying that? And if you were determined that this cutter, I mean, his cutter from a whiff rate standpoint is like his best pitch, but from like an actual result standpoint, is his worst pitch. But like if you see that and you see he's struggling to get results with his cutter, then why are we waiting till June 4th to send the man down to Triple-A? Clearly, that was always on the table for him. You could have sent him down instead of doing the whole opener thing. So the Red Sox are being really weird with Bello. They have been for several years now. And then I think the cherry on top of it all today is Connor Wong has like, again, I know some people don't like to give credence to the whole personal catcher thing, but like, I mean, I didn't pitch at a very high level, but I always enjoyed. I pitched better to certain guys that I was more comfortable with. Yeah. And clearly, historically, Brayan Bello and Connor Wong are much better battery than Brayan Bello and pretty much any other catcher he's ever had besides Reese McGuire. So why is Connor Wong getting DH at bats today? Now he went 1 for 3. Good for him. Shout out Connor Wong. But like, why are we prioritizing Connor Wong at bats instead of having him catch the guy that he's historically done really well with? Like, he's in the lineup already. You couldn't have just had Narvaez DH if you wanted both in the lineup. It just doesn't make any sense to me. They're really doing a whole lot with Bello, and then obviously it falls on him first and foremost, but the Red Sox are not doing him any favors. So I think going to AAA will greatly benefit him if he's willing to actually accept the coaching, which is also an uncertainty with Brayan Bello.
Yeah, that's we've talked about kind of the negative aspects in which how the Red Sox have kind of handled Bello. But on the other side, like Bello's attitude, post game, during the game, has been pretty piss poor as well. We saw that with him, shaking off Narvaez when he was trying to come out to the mound. That was crazy.
That pissed me off.
Yeah, that was nuts. Like as you're throwing meatballs down the middle of the, and getting destroyed out there, it's like, your boy's trying to get you to calm down. And then, his comments after the game, and I think it just came out like an hour ago that they're a bit worse than what the interpreter tried to kind of gloss over. But yeah, not ideal from that end either. So.
No, the shooing away of Carlos Narvaez really rubbed me the wrong way, because if you think about it, I mean, at the time, it was 1-0. It was a 1-0 game. He had just walked Samuel Basallo on 4 pitches or 5 pitches. I think he landed a strike on the 2-0, and then he walked him.
Which I'm fine with. That dude's a beast.
Yeah, like Basallo's an animal. You have the base open. Like, I understand you don't want to pitch around guys like so early in the game, but you already allowed a run. You are very lucky it's only 1 run.
Yeah.
You just got Pete Alonso to ground into a double play. Like, you were in a very good position to go and have a nice mental reset and be like, this could have been so much worse. You shoo away Narvaez, who good on Carlos for going out there and being like, no, fuck you, I'm coming to talk to you. And then Bello goes and completely melts down and gives up 5 more runs. Again, all with 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah.
Just absurd out of Brayan Bello today. That was like really, you watch him and you're like, somebody's got to save him from himself. And I think as much grief as I want to give Craig Breslow, I think he finally did that by just sending him down to Worcester. And I think, has it been announced that it's going to be Jake Bennett? I imagine they're going to call up a reliever for the Yankee series and then probably, well, they just traded for La Sorsa, so that's probably who it'll be.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about trading for Joe La Sorsa. But yeah, Bello was terrible today. Now, he did, I guess, settle down from there. He allowed just 2 earned runs over his final 4+. So the bulk of the damage was done in the first inning, but it was like a thanks for coming out situation. Like once Mayo hit that 3-run double, the game was over. So, if you were worried about missing the game, if you missed the first inning, you missed the game. Sorry.
Game over. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from the Red Sox side of things offensively, I mean, Wilson Contreras chipped in 2 more hits, including a home run. That's now his, 12th of the season? We confirm that. What is it? It doesn't say on here. I think it was his 12th. We're going to call it his 12th. If it was his 13th, I'm sorry, Wilson. Drove in 2 runs. Both runs the Red Sox scored today. So they didn't get shut out, but they got blasted. And that's leaves another sour taste in your mouth. Another home series loss against a bad Orioles team, or at least an Orioles team that's not playing well. And now you're 1-8-1 at home in series, and 10-21 at home overall this season. That's worse than like the 22-23 Red Sox.
Yeah. Well, and we do have very good starting pitching, obviously outside of today, good defense. But from a fan perspective, it's an incredibly frustrating product to watch. Like, I hate to be one of the guys where it's like, hit the home runs. It's more fun when there's offense. But like, dude, we give up 3 runs a game, but we're only scoring 1. Like, It's not fun. I spend the entire game just like outside of when like Tolley and early pitch, how am I as a fan supposed to want to watch this team?
Yeah, especially because the veterans that they do have, like Ranger Suarez, when he's on, it's a lot of fun to watch. But when he's off a little bit, it's really, really tough to watch. Sonny Gray, I think, has been a breath of fresh air, but you can't really enjoy his starts because you know that in 6 weeks he's going to be on another team.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're in a position where it's like, if they end up calling Jake Bennett, back up, which they probably will the next time Bello is supposed to pitch, he'll get the next go of it. So I'll add Bennett to the list of pitchers that I'm excited to watch. Obviously, if Garrett Crochet ever comes back, if he ever returns from war, it'll be fun to watch him pitch again. But yeah, you're right. This isn't a fun team to watch because so many of the players that are good or supposed to be good are vets that you're now expecting to be on other teams. And they're saddled with Suarez for 5 years. So I don't even know if he's a guy they may even try to move at the deadline.
Yeah, and someone who's like a real world salary, not CBT, like, kind of actually rises relatively aggressively from what I remember.
Yeah, it's like 30 mil a year the last 2 or 3 years of that deal.
Yeah. It sucks too, because guys like Rafaela is having a great year, and we're not really talking about it, right? Because his team sucks. Abreu, I know his OPS isn't as high as it's been, but he's been super solid. He's fun to watch on defense, dude. He's amazing and right. Wilson's been great, and then Duran, had an awesome May. But otherwise than that, it's a shit team, and it's not a fun product.
Yeah, Durbin's picked it up a little bit lately.
Durbin.
I think his hitting streak's up to 7 games now, I think, with his 1 for 4 today. He's looked a lot better. His OPS is now finally over 550, so congratulations, Caleb Durbin. It's not a fun team, and we talked for years about this with the Red Sox, where it was like, if they just had a good pitching staff, imagine how dangerous they'd be, because they scored runs. It was like, man, if they could defend or pitch, they'd be so good. And then they overcorrected, and this year they can pitch sans Bello. They can defend, except for Trevor Story, and they suck. They're the worst they've been since 2020. And that's saying something. I mean, what's their record right now after today? It's what, 20? Let me just pull it
26 and 35.
26 and 35. They went 24 and 36 in 2020. So they're a game and a half, 2 games better than they were in 2020. And that 2020 team ended the season pretty well because they had Pivetta and Houck pitching, and Bobby Dahlbeck came up and was hitting well. So they had some juice. So if you prorate that to over 80 games, they may have been closer to a 500 team. Whereas this team, you get to the 80 game mark, they're going to be so far under it at this rate.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, especially coming off the year we had last year.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and there all these reports coming out about how they're going to they're aggressively pursuing a right-handed hitter, even if it means absorbing a bad contract. So the credit that Breslow gets for getting out from under the Devers contract, they're now going to be saddled with Xander Bogaerts again.
Yeah. So we could touch on that for a bit. I'm curious, what that means. Does that mean the right-handed hitter is the bad contract? Does that mean you trade for the hitter and you get a bad contract with him? But it's frustrating, because then you're going back on some of the positive aspects of Breslow, like you said, the Devers contract. Hey, you didn't want to pay Bregman $180 million. Not looking like a bad idea right now with the way he's playing. So we're going to take however many million from someone that's probably a worse player than Bregman, I'd imagine, whoever we end up with. I don't know.
Yeah, and what constitutes a bad contract at this point? Because the way people talk about him, the people are already saying Tatis is a bad deal. He's not. He's just having a bad year.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call Fernando a bad contract. I know J-Rod's really regressed in center field, and Seattle's been kind of hit or miss this season, but they're obviously not going to trade him. But if on the off chance they were, I wouldn't call J-Rod a bad contract. So we're talking about along the lines of Arenado at this point is so cheap that he wouldn't be a bad contract. But
that's for Bogaerts. One more year after this?
Yeah, I think 27 is the last year on his deal. So you got Bogaerts, Machado.
Yeah, that Machado one is that
Machado one
disgusting.
Is really bad. That Machado one is really, really bad. Matt Chapman is another one, but I think he's only got 2 more years left, but he's been super terrible this season.
I think he has at least 4.
Is it 4 more years? I know he signed that extension. I thought it was a 5-year extension, but I can't remember what was his first year in San Francisco.
Yeah, he signed a 6-year, 150.
After 23, or was it after 24?
So he signed it after 24. So he's got 4 years after this.
Okay, yeah. So that's disgusting. So that's another guy that you're throwing in the pile of bad contracts.
But also
Trout's a bad contract.
Even a guy like Chapman, I can maybe be talked into it. Maybe if you're like given like Yoshida and or Story, but like even so, is Chapman helping out this year's team?
Yeah, are you suddenly that much better offensive? And now you also have to gauge the fact that Caleb Durbin's playing well. So, like, are
Yeah,
you moving Caleb Durbin to second base, which I guess is fine, but then what are you doing with Marcelo? I mean, like, IKF's been hitting the ball really well lately, so it's like you're in a conundrum where you have too many players that are playing well enough to not lose their job, but you still don't have anybody that's like playing great baseball. I think at this point, like I know we're like kind of in this weird position where it's like so many people want them to just wave the white flag and sell everybody. And then there's a lot of other people who want them to do everything they can to salvage 2026. But if salvaging 2026 means trading for Matt Chapman on June 4th and
yeah,
like taking his contract on, I'm good. I'd much rather just pray that these guys start playing well and you get healthy and you go on a run. And then if you don't, then sell because I don't think like Matt Chapman's not pulling you out of a 9 games of under 500 hole, four back of the
no,
wild card. He's just not that kind of player. He's a
yeah.
good player.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. And but then you have to factor in you got 4 years after this, and then I don't know where this the offseason will take us with the the CBA agreement and salary caps and salary floors. Like we're already with what was already put out by the owners, we're already like at that ceiling. You add another 25 for Matt Chapman. It's like, is that really how you want to use that money? If that is, and I don't think that's exactly what's going to happen. But I'm just saying that has to be part of the thinking and the strategy as well.
Yeah, adding salary at this deadline is going to be very difficult because you do not know who or what the financial ramifications of that are going to be post lockout. It's they're in a very difficult spot. Which I mean, I know Breslow's got to be feeling the heat now that everybody and their brother has come out and basically been like, "I hate this guy. He sucks
Yeah.
at his job." Like David Ortiz is basically like, "Yeah, John Henry's like this shit doesn't this can't fly." Theo, who advocated for Breslow to get the job, is like, this guy stinks.
Did that was the one that was like that was the most eye opening one for me was the Theo bit.
Yeah, because it's like, brother, you're part of the reason he got hired, and you're like,
Yeah,
this
it's
guy, this guy's
that's your
great.
Padawan dog. Just throwing him this. Yeah, it was nuts.
I saw not to plug the website I write for Just Baseball, but Aram Layton over there said would because of the report that somebody needs to have like an interpreter that relays like his robotic messaging to the clubhouse and to the manager and to other members of the front office. And Aram said, would this be the first time that there's ever been a same language interpreter in MLB history?
English to English.
English to English. It's like that's what that skit from or that bit from Key and Peele where he's like giving like a very diplomatic speech and then there's the angry translator being like, "Yeah, we're going to fuck them up." You know? We're
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
like that's pretty much where we're at. It's like I don't know. I mean, do you give Breslow like Breslow's drafts have gone really well? Are you giving him the draft and then seeing where you're at the deadline? But like how do you trust him to navigate a trade deadline at this point? You know this is a desperate man. And
Yeah, I
when he's
mean,
desperate, he gets
and I don't love I don't love the rumors we're hearing, which can only take rumors with a grain of salt, but sounds like someone's pretty desperate. The fact that you'd be willing to take a pretty crappy contract after trying to be like contract financial savvy.
yeah, again, like you trade Devers, I understand that he's got like 8 more years on his deal, so it's maybe a little bit it's not an apples to apples situation, but like if you trade Devers just to absorb a bad contract in the end, like is that not kind of like not to
Yeah,
keep
I mean,
referencing
yeah, you trade Devers and you bring back like Austin Riley. Like that
yeah.
doesn't make much sense to me. So you can save $8 million a year that for a guy that's not as good hitting as Devers.
Yeah. And like again, or you could bring back Bogarts and maybe that'll appease some fans, but then we have to deal with the harsh reality that this is 2026 Xander Bogarts, not 2021 Xander Bogarts, who we all loved. It's just different. Like they're in a really, really, really bad spot right now. And they're at like again, I had my reservations about Breslow's ability to do the job going into the offseason. I did not really think that it would be this bad. I thought my big concern was that he was going to go nuts and like give Pete Alonso like 35 mil a year like the Orioles did. Which and Pete did it a home run in the series, but otherwise was pretty quiet. I thought that was going to be what did Breslow in was a bad contract, and it's just really more so his aversion to bad contracts, so much so that he just completely neglects one side of the baseball, and then they suck, and he's like, I'm going to fire the manager instead.
Yeah, well, like a willingness to get uncomfortable, and then it's bled into the roster construction, and that's why was it 26 and 34 or whatever it was?
26 and 35. He's
Yeah.
Breslow's the only person I think on the planet that's happy Roman Anthony is hurt because now he doesn't have to trade an outfielder.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
honestly.
like, oh, now it's working out. Because...
Yeah, and then the reports come from Jeff Passan today that the Red Sox are, skeptical about trading Duran, or not skeptical, but like the way that they view Duran, comparatively to everyone else is higher. It's here we go.
And it's been the same. It's been the same thing since the end of the 2024 season. The Red Sox view him as a superstar, and the league views him as a pretty good player.
A superstar they're just begging everyone to trade for, it feels like.
Yeah, it's like, man, you're trying. I mean, they're not trying to trade him, or they're posturing like they're not trying to trade the guy, but like they're trying to trade the guy.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. He's almost 30, and you may be staring down the barrel of another rebuild at this point, which is nuts to think about at this point. But a year removed from the playoffs. And
yeah, I can't believe if you would have told him this offseason that Rafael would be hitting in the 2-hole and Mickey Gasper would be our best DH option, I would have told you get the hell out of my face.
If you had told me coming into the season that Cedon would have an OPS pushing 800, I would have been like, how far ahead of the pack are the Red Sox in the division?
Yeah.
And they're so far back that, I mean, they're 11 games back of the division. And now, granted, their run differential is only -6 because whenever they do score runs, they score them in bunches and they win 8-0, like they did in Game 2 of this series. So like they're like the fakest 26 and 35 team ever in the sense that like run differential wise, their expected win loss is 30 and 31. They're 26 and 35. It's just nasty the position that they've put themselves in right now, and it was completely avoidable. I get some injuries have happened, like you missed Crochet for a month, but the pitching has held up other than Bello. The lineup was terrible with Roman, so you don't necessarily feel his absence as badly. But like you don't have Roman. Costas is a figment of our imagination. But I just, I think even the biggest of Red Sox naysayers coming into the season did not expect them to be 26 and 35 through 61 games.
Yep.
Just
100%.
gross.
100%.
So yeah, Red Sox lose Game 3, 8-2. I do want to talk about the fun game that was had last night because I had a blast. I was there. Oh, sorry, they won 8-1 in Game 2. I forgot that we got subject to 3 innings of Ryan Watson. Yeah, last night was fun at the very least. Like they sprinkle these games in every once in a while. We were like, oh, maybe that'll galvanize them a bit. They'll turn the corner. I think everybody in the lineup last night had at least one hit. 4 guys had multi-hit games. 2 guys had multiple runs batted in. It was a fun-ass game.
Yeah.
And totally pitched like the beaut that he is.
Yeah, he's been such a bright spot in such a sour year. Not even from like obviously he's got his low 2 ERA and he's just chucking fastball and sinker and cutter after another. But like he's such a joy to watch. Just the way he plays, and then just like seeing how he interacts with everyone, him jumping, and then his post-game interviews are just gorgeous. Like the dude rocks, man. The dude just rocks.
He's a funny dude and friend of the program as well, Peyton Tolley. His post game last night was so funny where they were like, you got any explanations? And he just starts dying laughing. Like,
Yeah.
he's such a child. It is beautiful listening to that man talk, watching him pitch, and then the cornet contest as Lou Merlone appropriately dubbed it on the broadcast last night. I didn't see that happen live. If I did, I would have probably shit my entire pants.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
Funny dude, but he pitched his butt off, and his ERA is down to 2.28. Like, he's got a very real shot at Rookie of the Year this season. He probably won't win it because it's always given to a position player when there's anyone that's like worth a damn, and McGonagall's been fantastic, but
Yeah.
totally definitely deserves his flowers. And this guy didn't make the team out of camp. Not that I'm saying, not that he necessarily should have, especially with Oviedo's existence, who, by the way, that's a guy. Completely forgot about him until I just uttered his name.
Dude, I forgot too.
that man kept Peyton Tolley in Triple-A, gave us one outing of 92, got bombed, and then got put on the shelf. And Lord knows if he'll ever pitch again for the Red Sox.
I know you could probably make a rotation of guys who haven't pitched for us this year that are starting pitcher options with, Cutter, Sandoval, Oviedo.
Sandoval's pitching tomorrow, though, in Worcester for an inning.
There you go. For an inning.
We'll see if he survives it. Yeah, the Red Sox now have. Yeah, that's a pretty solid 3 guys that just cease to exist. Yeah, crazy that we're at this point. A team that had I think the number 1 projected WAR in baseball for the rotation has been up to snuff, and they stink. But anyway, game 2 was fun.
It was fun.
Game 2 was very fun. Willier hit a home run, his first in like a month, which I've been really like, as good as he's been, the lack of power was really starting to frustrate me.
His slug was been way down.
Yeah, like right now, or at least exiting that game, it was 435, which is like fine, but it's like, if you had told me that Willier Abreu had a lower slug than Cedon, I'd be like, we sure about that?
Yeah, no, it's been weird because like his batting average is a tick higher than normal. Like his on base has been pretty good comparatively the last couple of years, and then just his slug's been down. But it's a nice thing with the Willier. He's so damn good in right field that you're just like you go with the ebbs and flows of it.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the streakier hitters in the lineup, but when he's on, he is very fun. And then obviously the defense plays. He's not one of those guys who takes his offensive struggles out into the field. Maybe he'll uncork a wild one, but I mean, when you have a howitzer like that, it happens.
Yeah, that's the frustration with this team is like some of my more casual buddies, they get like frustrated with Willier because he's in the 3 hole and he's a streaky guy. I'm like, well, that's not his fault. Like the dude is, if you stuck him in your 5 or 6 hole the next 10 years, dude, he'd be like one of everyone's favorite Red Sox players. But the lineup is so bad that Willier's in the 3 hole, and you kind of have to deal with the streaks of it because that's how the roster construction is.
Yeah, they're just poor. They just were poorly prepared for the season to start. They'd banked way too much on like Trevor Story repeating 2025, and that was just not fair to him or the Red Sox in general. They were putting so much on Story to remain as good as he was last year, Roman to take a year 2 leap, and Duran to return to at least like a happy medium between 25, 24. And those are just 3 things that, I mean, like, baseball's a tough game, man. And Story's 34. Duran was already ticking in the wrong direction post All-Star break 2024. So we're talking like now almost 2 calendar years of him not being a great player, a great hitter. And you were banking on him to come out of the gates and carry this offense that was a paper dragon coming into the season. It's just they weren't prepared for the season to begin, and that's the biggest indictment on Craig Breslow's job performance. Is from a pitching staff standpoint, they were great. From an offensive standpoint, they were a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on game 2 that you want to talk about before we're doing this in reverse order. We're gonna go back to game 1, and then we're gonna.
It's what the 2026 Red Sox have done to us. We have to do our best to just cope with it and try different things.
Yeah, we're trying something else.
I've got nothing else for game 2. Totally, I will. No matter how shit the Red Sox do this year, and whoever they trade and however frustrating the offense will be, I will always be tuned in for Peyton Tolley's start. That I can guarantee.
Yeah, and I don't even tend to like track what guys are saying post game too. Like even the Bayo stuff. Like I was out for a walk when the Bayo quotes dropped and everything. Um, but I don't typically follow what these guys are saying post game because I think so much can be said when you're emotional, and especially a guy like Bayo who's already a hothead. Like you stick a
Yeah.
microphone in front of him an hour after he just got embarrassed on his home mound. Like he's not gonna say a lot. He's not gonna be like, "It's just baseball, man." Like it's just, like it's just not. That's just not how people are. But like I will listen to anything that comes out of Peyton Tully's mouth. I would love for there to be a podcast of Peyton Tully and Tristan Casas.
I like that.
The only difference between the two of them is Casas paints his nails, and Tully's happily engaged, whereas Tristan Casas is DM diving. You know,
Yeah,
Like,
he's deep. He's deep in the game.
he's deep in the DMs while Peyton Tully is engaged. But like personality wise, they're basically the same. They're all about this. They're all about sunning. They're barefoot on the grass all the time, and they just don't shut up. And I say that so endearingly. It's just a beautiful thing. The first episode would be like 5.5 hours, but you know where I'll be for it? Seated. I will be listening to it
The fellas will be sad.
on half speed. I want to listen to it for the entire day. My entire shift is going to be dedicated to a Peyton Tully, Tristan Casas pod.
Just zoomed in on Tully's stash the entire time, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, question on Tully real quick. Because people keep saying that I look like him. I don't see it.
I
Maybe
don't
not
either.
right now because I have the beard and everything. It's a little bit more.
I saw
more-
that. Saw that in the chat today. I didn't. I don't see the. I don't see it.
I don't either, and it drives me wild that they make that comparison. I'm like, I appreciate it. I take it as a compliment. But I will say, if he looks like me, as I mentioned in our group chat, my sister pointed out he's younger than me. So actually, if we look alike, Peyton Tully looks more like Jordan Leandry than Jordan Leandry looks like Peyton Tully. So
they'll have to discuss that on his podcast with Tristan Casas.
yeah,
Yeah, dude. I don't see it. I mean, maybe like a similar like smirk, like a little grin, I guess.
yeah. I think when we like both have when I have just the mustache going, I think we have similar face shapes, and we're obviously both white boys with a little motion. So like,
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's the aura.
I understand where people are coming from. I just do not see the resemblance. But hey, I would not present Peyton Tully with that information either because.
Well, yeah, and the good thing is there are a lot worse people to be compared to looks wise.
Than me? I don't know about
that. no, for Tully.
I don't know. I would probably I'd be very upset if somebody told me that I looked like me,
This actually turned into a therapy pod.
This is turned into a very
Let it out.
trauma dump. I am actually crying as we speak. This is what the 2026 Red Sox have done to me that I am now self-deprecating on the podcast. Not even about baseball.
What's your biggest fear? No, I'm just kidding.
What is love? Start getting deep in the weeds and all philosophical.
The Red Sox, the 26 Red Sox have made me figure out the point of life. There it is.
Yeah, I've understood. I now think there's more to life than baseball. I have now taken up gardening. I go for long walks, not on the beach because I don't live near the beach anymore, but walks, gardening.
I've dead ass been like hobby maxing because the Red Sox, dude. I have to do something.
Hobby maxing.
Hobby maxing.
Yeah, I gotta find something else. I gotta figure something else out to do with my time because God, I know we haven't previewed the Yankees series yet, but like, good Lord, then we'll have to recap that series on Sunday, and I'm already fully anticipating it being a sweep. Like
having to recap a series after Schittler goes like 8 innings shut out, it's gonna be good luck.
Yeah, I'm just glad that's a day game because if I had to stay up late to then record post game on Sunday after Schlittler does that again to the Red Sox, I would pass away.
Yeah.
Then I have to get up early for work on Monday. Oh my God, I would probably take a sick day.
Yeah, that's not what you want.
No, it is not. So yeah, Red Sox win game 2, 8-1. So it brings us to game one. Brings us to game one of this series. Brings us back to game one. Connolly early had the ball. He was not sharp in this one. Overall, his final line was okay. I mean, 4 earned, 5 1/3 is not a good start, but I mean, he kept them in the game. He gave him a couple home runs. One to Pete Alonso. That was a really bad pitch that Pete smashed into the monster. Because, of course, you knew Pete was homering in this series just so people could complain that he wasn't on the Red Sox, as if the guy they chose instead of him isn't having a better year than him. I understand why. Like, you could have had both, but anyway. What were your thoughts on early in this outing?
Yeah, not great. He's obviously having issues with the home runs. It felt, I think 2 of the home runs, I don't remember how much he gave up. I don't have it in front of me. Both of them were on changeups, the 2 in the same inning. It just seemed like bad location, a bit higher than what he was going for. But dude, this is like his first full year. He's got a 3.20 ERA against a division rival, in Boston. Like, I do hope we clean up a little bit of the home run issue, but man, it's been a good year for him. I don't think he's like an ace guy. I think he's like a 3.4 that, like, throughout his career, his ERA is probably going to be a bit better than like a lot of the underlying stats. But he's going to give you between like a 3.3 to a 3.8 for like the next 7-8 years and just be consistent. Like that's really important and great to have for a team.
Yeah, I think so. My comparison for him, like midway through the season, when I saw kind of how he was ascending as a prospect, was he reminded me a lot of Cole Hamels, just in the sense that, like, I mean, Hamels was great. Like, maybe not peak Cole Hamels, but like those like last few years in Philly, and then when he was with Texas, like for stretches could be ace level, but he's like really like just a solid arm that you want to have, in your rotation. But yeah, he's not a world beater by any means. Like, he's just a damn good guy to have in the, in the depths of your rotation. Like, I would much rather have Connolly early on my team than Johan Oviedo. I'd much rather have him in the rotation than, like, as much of a cutter guy as I was. Like, would I rather have 2026 Connolly early or 2024 Cutter Crawford? I'd rather have Connolly early.
Yeah.
He's just more talented. He's got better stuff. He's more polished across the board on his pitches. His command can be a bit erratic, not necessarily with walks, but he's in the heart of the plate a lot. And sometimes you get burned by a guy who has 400 career home runs already. And, he made a bad pitch to Pete Alonso, and unfortunately Shane Baz has always had the Red Sox number, but was really good in game 1, and 4 runs was too much.
A lot of pitchers have had the Red Sox number this year. Weird
but Boz has always had their number, though. Yes. They really struggle with dudes with velo that chuck it at the top of the zone. I don't know why not every pitcher does that. I know not every pitcher has a fastball to get away with it.
It just shows that we're going to get absolutely destroyed by Schindler on Sunday, dude.
Yeah, Sunday's going to be a mess. That is going to be an awful, awful viewing experience, and I will be seated for it. I don't know for how long, but I will be seated for it. Maybe till the Yankees score first. Oh, did you see this? Did you see this stuff on Judge that's been coming out about his shoulder?
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, if he's got thoracic outlet syndrome, I'm pretty sure that's what shocked Corey Kluber. Yeah, and then he had great. The teres major strain or whatever that wrecked one of his years. But Markel Fultz's career was doomed because he had thoracic outlet syndrome. So did Tyler Thornburg's with the Red Sox.
Yeah, and he's been pretty healthy since he signed that contract, actually, which has been kind of surprising. He's been, obviously phenomenal, but
yeah, but who knows how that's going to go. The Yankees fans have been really pissing me off about Aaron Judge specifically. I've seen Yankees fans being everyone's ignoring the fact his OPS is 200 points lower than it was last year. It wasn't over 1,100 last year. Damn, his OPS regressed would be the best on the Red Sox. And
yeah, what do you want me to say?
Yeah, and his regression has been completely offset by the fact Ben Rice is the second best hitter in the sport this year.
I know. So Bellinger's been great too.
Yeah, Grisham's been heating up. Jazz has been heating up. Like the Yankees have been doing fine, just fine with Aaron Judge having a measly 930 OPS.
Yeah.
Cry me a river.
I haven't paid attention to the Yankees at all. Like, it's fun to talk shit with. I got a bunch of buddies who are Yankees fans. Like, what am I supposed to do, dude? Like, we suck. I'm not gonna sit here and play the. No, we suck. Say what you want. There's not even a conversation.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's but yeah, they're gonna take the pants off the Red Sox in this series. I'm so very much dreading it. But yeah, as far as the offense goes, you got a hit from Jaron Duran, you got 2 from Sadon. Willier drove in a run, Marcelo drove in a run. But that was it, really. I mean, again, early was blah. Weiser gave you an inning and 2/3 shutout, almost like when he doesn't inherit runners, he does a pretty good job. And then you got 2 scoreless out of Tyler Samaniego, who ended up getting sent down for Tommy Kahnle, which we didn't talk about Tommy Kahnle debuting. I guess we can quickly hit on that before we go to the Yankee series. But yeah, I mean, I do have one question though that I want to talk about here because I'm not making any like staunch opinions of this guy or like how he'll progress as a player. But I have been really, really, really disappointed in Marcelo Mayer in 2026. I know I said I have a question and then didn't ask it, but I'm curious where you stand on Marcelo's rookie season, or I guess first full year.
Well, once again, it's a nuanced discussion or like a topic. Like he's not been good with the bat at all. Obviously he has a good floor based on how good he is at defense. It's frustrating because Craig did such a bad job with this lineup that it's put this much pressure on guys like Mayer when like they're this bad. It really affects the team because he's got no help on the team right now. Like in a perfect world, a guy like Mayer is slotting him into the 8-hole. You're just like, dude, play good defense, and like you have the whole year to figure it out. And we want to see some regression. We want to see some progression by the end of the year. Because we are, we did, bring you up a bit too early last year, in 25. So, but you're not wrong though. It's a lot of rough at bats. Feels like he can't hit a changeup at all or off speed. I mean, he had a couple. I know he had a nice swing. I think in the first game that was caught. But yeah, no, it's not great. But also I was looking at Devers and like. Bogey's first year, and those guys, like their first 100 whatever games, they both had like OPSs, under 700, under 650. But then Meyer's not even at like 6 right now. So
yeah, I do want to give him some grace. Like I said, I wasn't making any I'm not like, oh, Marcelo Mayer is a bust or anything like that.
Sure, yeah,
it's just I watch him play, and as impressed as I've been with his defense overall, I don't watch him play and say, yeah, that guy is definitely a long-term fixture of this team. I watch him play and I'm like, I really I'm optimistic that he'll turn a corner. Maybe not this year, but maybe it'll be next year. But I'm still operating under the assumption that like he is very much on the table if there is a trade that can make you markedly better. Like again, I would have traded him this offseason for Ketel Marte. I was banging that drum. I would have traded him and Connolly. And like again, I brought this up before, but like if you make that trade for Ketel, you know who you still have right now? Kyle Harrison.
Yeah, that's true.
You know who you don't have? Caleb Durbin. Again, Caleb's been good lately, so I don't want to like kick the man while he's finally building himself up a little bit. But like,
yeah, but if we for Marte, we might not give $6 million to IKF, and that would really hurt me. To be honest,
I think I'd live. But they still, I mean, in theory, they still could have because they still would have had to add another infielder to replace Bregman. And, like, I mean, IKF would be the everyday third baseman, which would be disgusting. But, like, if you add Ketel and you trade Marcelo, you have, I mean, I also was much higher on Arias. I did not think his pop was going to be.
Oh, my God. I don't know anyone who, like, besides Keith Law, who thought that Arias would just turn out like it's great from an organizational perspective for the Red Sox in terms of the future. Having a guy like that as a top 5 prospect now is huge. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, back to Meyer. I don't know how anyone can be certain or have any sort of guarantee on who the hell he's going to be as a player. If you want to think that he can be a four war player one day, sure. If you think that he's just a bench guy with really good defense, sure. But I don't know what he's going to be, and it kind of leads to the bigger question of, the big three and like what we thought of them like a year ago, and they all kind of have question marks. Obviously, I still think Anthony will be fine.
Yeah.
But like they were kind of billed to us as like the saviors of the franchise, and we got one who's got under 7 OPS in Triple-A, and then Meyer, who's plays good defense. That's really it right now. And then Anthony, who not been good.
Can't stay on the field.
Yeah, can't stay on the we'll So, maybe that's we're in the valley of those three guys' career right now, or maybe we're not. Maybe we are with one of them. Maybe we're not with two. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, the likelihood of hitting on all three of your top prospects is very slim. Like, that is very difficult to do. Not a whole lot of organizations do it. I think that's why, like, when you look back at, like, the 90s Yankees, where they hit on Jeter, Posada, Bernie, and Pettit, and Mariano Rivera all at the same time. Like, they hit on 5 top prospects.
Generational, yeah.
In the span of, like, a year and a half, 2 years. That just doesn't happen, and especially not all at the same time. And to think the irony of the whole situation here too is, like, I know Kyle Teal's been hurt this year, but like he had a pretty damn good year last year, and like Chase Meidroth's been pretty good this year for the White Sox. Like, there's a non-zero chance that the best player of the big four is Kyle Teal. And he's the one guy you traded. And I guess, fair enough if you want to like play when we traded Moncada over Benintendi for Sale, we kept the better end of it. So it's like just kind of history course correcting itself.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's early in their careers, but they've made it like almost impossible for Christian Campbell to ever play for the Red Sox again. Roman will play whenever he's healthy. I just hope that they aren't dancing around the fact he clearly needs surgery. And if he does need surgery, they do it like, I don't know, in 10 minutes instead of in July, and he really loses 26. Marcelo, I don't know. I mean, I know that he got like, because people love to put the best possible player they could ever be as their comp. I always saw more Brandon Crawford than Corey Seager.
Yeah.
But Brandon Crawford had like a 30-WAR career, so it's a good player. I think Marcelo is going to be a good player. It's just watching him play this year, I've been really disappointed. I thought there'd be more signs of like this guy's a big leaguer offensively, and like he's at negative 0.1 fWAR, and he's 55 games into the year. He's 23. He's young. Like I don't want to be like this guy sucks, but like we're talking about him like he needs to be here for the next decade, and I don't even know if he needs to be here come opening day next season.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at Bogart's first year. I mean, a big differentiating factor was he was 21, not Meyer's 23, but he hit 240, didn't even have a 300 OBP, 360 slug. So you just don't know, like, the saying that like, growth isn't linear with these guys. You have no idea how Meyer's going to turn out. You really don't. And it's frustrating because it's so wide,
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But I do actually, this does beg a deeper question. We gotta find a way to grift an hour out of this. But why do the Red Sox seem to have so much trouble turning top prospects into like actually like really, really good baseball players? Like, I know that people talk about the market. Is it like, I don't know why, like, these guys are I mean, maybe they're not necessarily part of the market, but they get all the press clippings and everything coming through the minor leagues. Like, they've already know what the expectations are, and they succeed as prospects, and they come up to the bigs, and it's like Campbell struggles, which is fine. Like, young guys struggle. Roman struggles a little bit. He's dealt with some injuries. Again, not casting anything on his career, not casting a dark cloud on him or any of these guys. Marcelo has really struggled and not shown really any signs of improvement. Sure. And then you've got like Sadon. It took a while. He's finally kind of breaking out. Same with Willier. But then you got like Bello. who succeeded in this market, and now he's completely fallen off of the face of the earth, and he stinks. And now he's in Triple-A again. So like, what? I don't know what is going on with the Red Sox organization in general, where they're very good at churning out great prospects, and then they get to the major leagues, and they just are nowhere near that level of impact.
So I agree. I would just caveat. I'd argue though that it seems like it's primarily on the hitting side, and I do feel quite a bit more comfortable with the pitching side. You are right about Bayo, but I'd argue that he's more of the outlier. I mean, Tolley and early this year have both been great, but you are right. It does feel like I'm not the biggest Craig guy, but his strength for sure has been what he's done with pitching in this organization. Based on training for Crochet, and Crochet has been awesome. Drafting Tolley, turning Tolley to what he is. Drafting was early before Breslow. Was that Breslow's
Early was a Heim guy.
Okay, so making progression with early. It looks like they've done a pretty decent job with his last draft with Ianson. I know Witherspoon has been, a little hit and miss. But you're right, though. There just seemed to be some sort of issue with, they have guys who are good at hitting in the minor leagues. Then they get to the majors, and they have a really tough transition. And yeah, Rafaela has figured it out. But he's kind of the outlier at this point for hitting.
Yeah, him and Willier.
Yeah, and Willier, I guess he was a Red Sox prospect, but he was really groomed by the Astros, and we got him.
Fair enough.
We got him at the end, and so I don't.
Fair enough. They talk about this. They talk about culture too, and actually, this is another thing we should talk about before we preview the Yankee series. But the IKF comments before the series, it was after Game 1.
Yeah. I didn't. Definitely some weird comments. But I also think what happens is, we've already seen this season with comments between Mayer and Contreras about the young guys, and the media kind of when you lose, everyone's a bit more emotional, and comments that are normally kind of brushed aside when you win come more to light. So IKF's comments, I didn't know what the hell to think. I was weird, but I don't know if it's just someone that kind of talking out of their ass, or doesn't really know what they're saying, or if he is making hey, we have way too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't know. I don't really know. And I feel like he didn't really double down or kind of explain what he meant from what I saw. Maybe I could be wrong, but
yeah, it was almost like somebody that was trying to have a profound moment, and he was like, I'm gonna say something that's really philosophical, and it's gonna be this big thing. And then it was received as him calling out basically the entire team. For being I mean, there's tangible proof that these guys are much more social butterflies when they're at home. Roman and Marcelo frequent loco. We've seen pictures.
Yeah.
We've seen those pictures. They go out to the bars. I mean, they're in their early 20s. As long as it doesn't affect their play, which I guess maybe this year you could say maybe it did. But Duran's always out with those dudes from TikTok that I see. I don't even know their names.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Italian dudes.
The Italian dudes who freaking do those TikToks from the deli or whatever.
I unfortunately know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's always hanging out with those guys, and it's yeah, but I mean, you're home. You want to enjoy the time. You want to enjoy spending time with your family, seeing your friends and stuff. But what are these distractions? Is it because Breslow's around more? Is it because ownership's around more when you're at home and they're not on the road? There's so many different avenues you can take with what he was saying of the market, because then he was something about the market this is what you dream of as a kid. And it's well, yesterday you were basically this market stinks, brother. It's distracting it's distracting our guys because we're much more tight knit on the road. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not taking too much from it. It was interesting. I'm interested to see if anything else comes from it, but I didn't find it incredibly insightful on the inner works of the Red Sox at all. It just seemed like a guys on the team that said some shit, and everyone's just don't really know what you're kind of gleaning at here. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a strange. I mean, everything that's come out, like the last 2 years, it's been like, wow, they picked the wrong year to do the documentary series
Yeah.
because it's been an absolute. It's been like Springer the last 2 years for the Red Sox. Like, I would have loved to have gotten one
Oh my
episode
God.
dedicated to the Devers trade, and like this year with all the crap going on behind the scenes and like not bringing Bregman back and it's just a
Firing the
mess.
coaching staff,
Firing the
having some cool
staff.
moments with Tully. Dude, Tully would have been a superstar in that show. Oh my God.
Oh my God! If only Costas was healthy too, we could get Totally and we could get the podcast, but on Netflix. It'd
They'd
be
be
great.
the first Red Sox team not to win a World Series, but win an Emmy.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Red Sox lose game one, 4-2. It was nice to see Tyler O'Neill. He sucked. Because he's not very good anymore. I miss him dearly. He was my favorite player of that 2024 team. A lot of people.
Every game I went to that year, he hit a bomb over the Green Monster. It was so sick, dude. It was so
Same,
sick.
same. I did a thread after the season ended because he hit 31 home runs in 2024. I watched 10 of them live.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I think I saw three multi-home. Yeah, I saw three multi-homer games because I was at the White Sox game that Crochet started, where he hit 2 home runs off of Crochet. I was at the Yankees game that Kenley blew, at home. He hit two go-ahead home runs in that game, and that was at Section 10 night where he and Ref Snyder went back to back twice.
Right. That's right.
And then yeah, four other Tyler O'Neill home runs were hit with me in
Yeah,
attendance.
opening day, he had one that year. Yeah.
Yep, he hit one off Corbin Burns on opening day. He hit one off Tyler Anderson that series as well. He hit one off Justin Martinez. It was crazy. Somebody hitting velocity in a Red Sox uniform.
I know someone, was it Bradford? Someone was like, Massa for Tyler O'Neill. I was like, dude, please. I don't care, please.
Oh, I love Massa. I would do it in a heartbeat. I was such a Tyler O'Neill guy.
Yeah, he was great that year.
I think it would do him some good to come back to Fenway. Although you are basically adding salary, or no, actually no, you're saving $1 million a year because O'Neill makes 17 and Massa
And
makes
he's
18.
and he's for what, 2 more years, right? Or this year next?
Yeah, this year next. So you get a year and a half versus a year and a half.
We'll throw in a
But
pitcher who will become a future Cy Young winner.
yeah, we lob them like Tyler Uberstein, and he is like an all-star by 2028 because that's how the Red
guaranteed
Sox
to happen.
Red Sox do all the work and they let somebody else put their name on the top of the paper.
Yeah.
Like they did with Priester and they did with Kyle Harrison. It's crazy that it's only Red Sox guys too. Because like the Brewers have Brandon Sproat and he's terrible.
Yeah.
But
Well, and Priester, I think, has kind of come back down to earth this year, right?
yeah, he's been hurt, and I
been
think
hurt.
on rehab he's been really, really bad. Let's see. He has not pitched in the majors this season, and on rehab he has a 16.88 ERA. He has allowed how many runs? He has allowed 25 earned runs in
Oh God, that's a
13
long rehab. Jesus.
in 13 and a third innings. He's made 7 rehab starts. He's only pitched 13 and a third innings. 19 walks, 14 strikeouts. Yeah. His rehab has been first inning Brayan Bello.
Yes, hell yeah.
You just know if the Red Sox moved Bello to the Brewers, he'd be a stud by the end of the season too.
Guaranteed.
They should do it. They should do it. Let's test this theory. Let's just give Brayan Bello. Let's just loan him like this is the freaking
That's the Premier League.
Let's loan him to the Brewers like this is the Premier League, and let's see what he does by the All-Star
honestly,
break.
yeah, because then he'll come back, look at his trade value up, and then see ya.
Yeah, then we can flip him for Cattell.
See ya, dude. I know. Do you think that contract's even tradable at this point?
Maybe if he didn't have a $21 million player option in 2030.
Is that a player or club?
It's player.
It's player.
At least that's what was reported today. Let me double check that. Let me make sure that the person who tweeted it was correct. Nope, it is a club option in 2030. So that tweet I read was incorrect. I don't know who it was, so they get away with it.
Yeah, because what, he's making 6 this year. The next year it's 8, 16, 19. and then a 21 club. So that's probably, if you were to trade him, what's 35? What's
You
43
got him.
divided by 3?
43 divided by 3 is just
it's
under
like
just under 15.
Like a 13 or 14
14
$1 million
and a
cap
yeah.
hit. Yeah.
No, this is nothing. Actually, you know what? It does have a little bit to do with Bello specifically because I vividly remember one of this guy's tweets from 2022. Remember HVT? Do you remember
Yeah,
him?
dude, I do. Oh, that's a name.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know what's going on in his world if he's still kicking. I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know.
Who was the dude that was the Red Sox creep? What was that guy's name?
Oh, Craig Teed.
I was trying to think of that name the other day. I was like, what was that guy's name?
Oh my
That
God,
was
we're name dropping some really problematic individuals right now. Well, not individuals because nothing wrong with HVT, but Craig Teed.
Yeah.
My God, I cannot. Those words should not have been used in that order. HVT.
That's on me.
And
That's
Craig
on me.
Teed
Yeah,
in
dude.
the same
If
sentence.
you're listening, HVT, my bad. That's on me. That's
Yeah.
on me. That was a night to be alive, though. That was a night. But,
yeah.
anyways,
But I just thought of him because I remember the tweet from like 2022 where he was talking about the organizational depth among starters, and it was like Wink, Bello, Siebold, Darwinson Hernandez, and like another jabron. And I'm like, what on like thinking back to that time period, Josh Winkowski being considered as like actual starting pitching depth, and it being like a serious thing, like a real thing.
Dude, and to think that
Nuts.
how much better our pitching depth is now, and we have like the same fucking record. Like, what the fuck? Dude?
Yeah, what was their record through 61 games in
Oh
2022? I'm very
God.
curious about this. Let's see.
Crazy.
2022 Red Sox were through 61 games. Well, no, because they got hot at the end of May, so they might have been over 500 through 61 games. Through 61 games, they were 32 and 29 in 2022.
Wow.
And that team had a rotation at one point of rookie Brayan Bello, rookie Josh Winkowski, rookie Connor Siebold, Nick Pivetta, and God only knows who else was the 5. It was probably like Rich Hill.
Jeez, dude.
But at one point they had on the shelf Sale, Eovaldi, Rich Hill, Michael Wacha. They had 4
Wacha, dude.
they had 4 like actual like really good big league pitchers. I mean, 3 of those guys are still all-star caliber to this day.
Yeah.
All on the shelf at the same time, and that's why Josh Winkowski was no longer depth and actually the number 2 starter for the Red Sox. And they were over 500 into August, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they never got above 500 and on August 2nd they were 53 and 52. So they were above 500 in August. At one point had Josh Winkowski as like their 2 or 3 starter.
That's incredible. What an organization. I'm so glad to be a fan of this.
What a time. What a time. I mean, I guess it's our right. It's the what happens when you get 4 championships in a 15-year period. You get stuck with Craig Breslow as your CBO.
That's true. English translator is a boss.
Yeah, I'm looking for that job listing on Work in Sports. If I see English translator for Craig Breslow, I am applying to that job so fast. I'm gonna try and do Breslow the favors that Bello's interpreter tried to do for him today. I'm gonna be like, no. I know he said that we don't want good players on this team, but I promise you we do. Actually.
That's not what he meant. That's what he meant.
He didn't mean that we don't like scoring runs. He just meant that we prefer to win games 1-0. You know, Craig Breslow, man, what a time. Anyway. Shall we preview what's going to be just an absolute debacle in the Bronx?
Let's do it.
I had a friend try to talk me into going to the game on Saturday. I'm like, absolutely not happening.
Nope.
Driving into the Bronx at 7:30 p.m. I will die. Somebody will kill me. And it might be me. And it might be me that does it. Because this team sucks. But anyway.
Dude, yeah, I mean, last time I was at Yankee Stadium was the Game 3 of the playoffs last year, and I broke my phone and just had like 200 Yankee fans like swearing and taunting us as we were leaving. So I'm good on taking a year break.
Yeah. I've gone the last 2 years. I went to game 1 last year against the Yankees, and then I went when Cam Boozer gave up that grand slam to Judge. I was there. I was there for that. Which I will say, knowing that team was bad and not making the playoffs, actually getting my first experience of Yankee Stadium, getting to witness like an atmosphere like that, stripping my Red Sox fandom away for a second was pretty cool.
I was telling my buddy, being at an opponent's playoff game or like at their stadium might be more fun than being at home. To like be to be the underdog and kind of like go against everyone else. Maybe that's the troll in me. I had the time of my life. Now,
No,
mind you, I did have like 37 beers, so that could have been part of that
yeah,
equation.
next time I go to Yankee Stadium, I'm going with you. I am. This is not a please invite me. This is not a we should do this.
boys are
we're
out
doing
here.
this.
Hell
We're
yeah,
doing
I'm
this.
down.
I want to get plastered at Yankee Stadium with you.
Just
we're
guard
not-
your phone, dude. Put it like in a little safe case. Make sure it's fine.
Might leave it in the car.
Yeah.
Bring a burner phone,
We'll come back with black eyes, but god damn it, well, our phone works.
and I'll be hammered. I won't even feel the pain of the black eyes. But anyway, on to this upcoming series in the Bronx. The Red Sox have game 1 against Ryan Weathers, who has a 3.52 ERA, going up against Sonny Gray, who's got a 3.06 ERA. Sonny Gray, a return to Yankee Stadium where he spent a year and a half, and I'm sure he would like to forget that year and a half of his life. I mean, he's basically said as much.
Yes.
That game is at 7:05 on today, I guess, for those listening today. Game 2, Saturday, Ranger Suarez on the mound, 3.38 ERA. He's going up against Will Warren, who's having a really good season. His ERA is 3.22. That's at 7:35. I don't know if that's a Fox game. I should have checked that. I mean, 7:35 seems a little bit late for it to be a Nesson game, so I'm guessing it's Fox. But you don't get Sunday Night Baseball this weekend, and that is, thank God, because I don't want to watch Cam Schlittler shove it down the Red Sox throat in a standalone game
National
again.
TV.
Yeah, I got there was enough of that he did it at Fenway this year, and then he also did it obviously, in game 3. Oh, hold on. Aaron Judge has been diagnosed with a stress fracture of the first rib in his right side. He will be re-imaged in approximately 4 to 6 weeks, but he is expected to return at some point this season. So that's another thing to consider while we're saying how the series is going to go. Aaron Judge will not be playing in it.
Cool. So I have a Yankee sweep. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but just to put a bow on it, Connolly Early has a 3.26 ERA going up against Cam Schlittler, who's having an unbelievable season, borderline Cy Young. He's been Cy Young caliber. 1.89 is his ERA. That game's at 1.35. So at least your entire Sunday won't be spent waiting for this debacle of a game. You'll get it out of the way relatively early, just in time for the Sunday scaries to settle in for work on Monday. But Isiah, how do the Sox do here in the Bronx?
You know what? I'm going to go 1 out of 3 for the Sox. But, I mean, what a great weekend of pitching matchups. Like, just looking outside the fact the Red Sox suck. I mean, Sonny Gray, 306. Ryan Weathers, a 350. Ranger Suarez, 330. Will Warren, 320. Connolly Early, 320. Cam Schlittler, 190. God. It's too bad we don't have to get offense, man.
I know, seriously. And like the thing that I've been barking the entire year is like, you get shut down by like Cam Schlittler, it's fine. Like, he's been fantastic this season. So it's like, yeah, you got shut down by a really damn good pitcher.
Yeah.
It's just when the likes of, like Luis Heel at Fenway, 6 innings, 1 earned, or like Shane Baz is an ERA over 5 and he kills you in game 1 of the series. Trevor Rogers today pitched really well. His ERA
The
was over
Dustin
6.
May game, I wanted to throw myself off my apartment.
Yep, same. And he's actually kind of like, that was like a get right game for him because he's been really good since then. Just in case you were wondering what the return for James Tibbs is up to, he's actually pitching really well for the St. Louis Cardinals right now. But anyway, yeah. So you got 1 out of 3.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I'll give the Sox 1 as well. With Judge not playing, I feel a little bit more comfortable with it. If Judge was playing, I'd say they get swept. But I think they'll take game 2 of the series. I think Gray will probably get smoked because it'll be a return to Yankee Stadium. There'll be some demons there. Ranger's gonna pitch his butt off because he's a true professional. He'll do well. Will Warren, I'm not buying that 3.22 ERA. And then just Connolly, I'm sorry, my guy, but that's just not a fair matchup for you, as you've learned already in your brief MLB career. The Red Sox are going to get absolutely pantsed by Cam Schlittler again.
I am excited to watch that game, though. It would be cool to like see him kind of do a rerun of last year. I mean, I don't feel good about the results, but it's a cool little storyline.
Yeah, his first start at Yankee Stadium since that game. So if I'm fully expecting the Red Sox to lose Game 3 on Sunday. But if Connolly Early is able to go band for band with Cam Schlittler for like 6 innings, if it's like 2-1 Yankees after 6, I'm like, Connolly delivered. I expected the Red Sox to lose, so I'm not all that upset about it. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're 1 out of 2 is like hey, Red Sox could take 1 out of 3.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. And I mean, honestly, they're on the road, so I mean, if they took 2 of 3, I wouldn't even be shocked. It's just
also true.
They're not at Fenway, so they've got a chance to do something, I suppose. But yeah, any final thoughts, Isiah, before we wrap this up?
Nope.
All right, fair enough. Same here. Yeah, that'll do it for this edition of the Pesky Report. Again, episode 582, presented by Beyond the Monster and TJ Stats. Go head on over to there, tjstats.ca, promo code Pesky, 25% off your first month. You can give us a follow on Instagram or on Twitter. Actually, and on Twitter. Don't just pick one. You can have both. You can have Wilson Contreras and Pete Alonso. You can follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. And also subscribe to us on YouTube. I guess that's Kyle Schwarber. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can have all 3. Leave us a review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. For Isiah, I am Jordan. Until next time, peace out and go Sox, kind of.
Like, this is called the Pesky Report. Like,